Alrighty, guys. Good morning to you all here. A happy Tuesday, May 6th, 2025. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. And we've already got some significant severe weather ongoing down in Texas this morning. We're going to be getting on live stream once this video is posted. So if you are in Texas, Louisiana, southern Oklahoma, southern Arkansas, down into southern Mississippi, and western portions of Alabama, we'll be doing live severe weather coverage mode once again for you guys today. This will be our last day of severe weather coverage, really for the next 4 to 5 days, as we're going to see a pretty big break in severe weather after today is over with. This will be a low end shot for some severe weather down in far extreme southern Texas tomorrow for some wind and some hail, but today should be our last day of significant coverage. So make sure y'all come in, get your questions answered. I will ask, as always, if you guys do come in stream, please be respectful. We had some really interesting comments yesterday in stream, but mods will be in there, weather team will be in there answering questions. I'll be in there answering questions. We've got tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches already out here this morning, as far out as the Houston metro area, eastern and northeastern portions of Texas, and a severe thunderstorm watch. So lots of severe weather already ongoing here this morning here, and that will continue to intensify as the afternoon progresses here, getting into Louisiana. We're also going to have the threat for some significant flash flooding down into central and southern Louisiana. That enhanced and slight risk has been shifted east. The threat for a couple strong tornadoes, EF2 plus, are on the table for today. Some damaging winds up to 75 miles per hour and some large hail. So we're going to break that all down for you guys. We've also got a little risk zone up here into the northeast for some wind and some hail, maybe a conditional tornado risk. That low pressure system that we've been watching for the last couple of days is finally going to be exiting this afternoon. So just an area to watch up there, and a little marginal risk down here into Florida. So really today and tomorrow are the only days of severe weather we got, and we'll talk about what's going to happen here in the next couple of days. But that's what we got ongoing. Lots of heavy rainfall going on across Oklahoma here. This should really limit the overall severe weather potential in Oklahoma today. We'll just have to see how our warm front lifts and sets up this afternoon. But regardless of that, lots of heavy rainfall ongoing with that system down there. And then I'm going to go ahead and head over to the Storm Prediction Center outlook here, and we're going to briefly talk about what they've got here for today for you guys. We'll head over here, and we've got a level 3, level 2, and level 1 risk for severe weather today out of 5. We've got a marginal and slight risk for severe weather back up here into we've got Benningham. We've got Scranton there. We've got New York in a marginal risk there. Philadelphia in the slight risk. Watertown up in New York. Rochester in that as well. So low end risk zone up here into the northeast. Not too much going on other than some wind and some hail, conditional tornado risk. Wind and hail risk back down here to Orlando and into Fort Myers, just outside of the Tampa Bay area there for some wind and for some hail. But our main risk is going to be back down here into Texas, Louisiana, southern Oklahoma, and portions of Mississippi and Arkansas here. We'll have the threat for a couple of strong tornadoes in that orange shaded area. That includes Austin, Texas, Waco, Lufkin, back into Lake Charles, Louisiana, Alexandria, Louisiana, getting into that as well. So the threat for EF2 plus tornadoes is on the table for you guys today if storms can mature and be organized supercellularly. Outside of that, though, we have a risk for wind and hail. We've got a 2% to 5% tornado risk in the slight and marginal risk there, and a large hail and damaging wind threat as well. That tornado risk, just to be exact there, 10% hatched. This is basically a 10% chance of a strong tornado within a 25-mile radius of a given location in that risk zone. Outside of that there, though, we've got Dallas, Fort Worth area, getting into Alexandria, Louisiana, Lake Charles, Lake Lafayette, along the Interstate 10 corridor, Houston, San Antonio, and that 5% tornado risk, and then the 2% goes down as far as New Orleans into Shreveport up to Wichita Falls and into northeastern portions of Texas there. So that's your tornado risk today. Pretty strong tornado risk for today. We'll keep you guys updated on that. Wind threat at 30, 15, and 5. Any of these areas here today, we could see the threat for winds up to 60 to 70 plus miles per hour. Really, all risk zones are going to be the same thing in terms of the wind risk for today. Just higher probabilities the higher up you go. And then we do have a hail threat at 5% in the northeast, 5% up here into North Carolina, and 5% up here into portions of Florida. And we got a hatched hail risk back down here into San Antonio, Austin, Abilene, Lubbock for later on this afternoon as more supercells could initiate behind the boundary, giving us a threat for some large hail. Damaging winds will also be, like I said, be the main priority, as well as a couple of tornadoes and some strong. Outside of that hail risk there, that hatched region, we could see hail up to 1 to 2 inches in diameter. So today should be our last big day, guys. Tomorrow we've got a little marginal risk back down here into Houston, Texas. This is just because that boundary is still going to be in place, but this is going to be a wind and a hail-driven risk zone. Not really looking at any tornadoes tomorrow. So Houston, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, Loretto, Pasadena, just be mindful, but we will not be covering this tomorrow because it is such a low-end day. We'll just be covering today's event. So that's really what we've got, and then we go through the day 3 outlook, and not much going on. General thunderstorms out at play, and then day 4 through 8, not anything expected. A lull in the severe weather. The possibility for some severe weather potential maybe going into Saturday and Sunday of this weekend could be on the table. Some low and severe weather for the southeast, and then we start to look at the potential for more significant severe weather going into next week. We're talking next Monday, next Tuesday, next Wednesday. and we'll kind of get to more on that when that does get closer to that. Now, here's an idea of what the models are going to suggest. As I mentioned right now, heavy rain ongoing up here in Oklahoma. This should limit the overall risk zones for today. Back down here as well into Texas. We've got the threat here for portions of central Texas, southeast Texas to be under the gun here for the threat for some large hail, a couple strong tornadoes, and some damaging winds. I also mentioned as well the flash flooding threat is also going to be ongoing as well as we go through this afternoon, this evening, especially get into eastern Texas and Louisiana. We'll get to those totals here in a minute. But here's what we're going to basically see today. This line of storms looks like it's going to start to break up, and we should start to see more robust supercells. These were what produce those stronger tornado potential and large hail and damaging wind events, and that's going to be potentially across the Lufkin, Austin area. We're going to have to really, really watch and see if these cells, in fact, do become confined in surface space. If they do, a couple tornadoes will definitely be on the table with a couple strong tornadoes. And then really what we're looking at going through about 6 to 7 p.m. this evening is going to be more of a messier mode of convection. If storms can stay isolated or at least not clustered, we could see a couple strong tornadoes moving into far extreme East Texas, getting into western Louisiana there. Still a little bit of uncertainty on what that's going to be. And then you can see our warm front and our cold front start to move east here and move north. And that's going to allow for an isolated chance for a couple of supercells, maybe along the Red River later on this evening, that could pose the threat for a couple of damaging wind and some large hail, maybe an isolated tornado. But some of the models don't even really have that at all. The models are kind of backing off on initiation late this evening here. So really the main time frame is going to be between now and about 8 o'clock tonight that we see most of that severe weather ongoing. And then by the time midnight gets here, we're pretty much in the clear here. A couple storms down here in southern Texas, and then mostly heavy rainfall moving through Louisiana. So we should probably only be on stream today for about 6 to 8 hours. Not expecting a extremely really overnight event for you guys down there. A couple storms fire off through tonight into tomorrow, and then we get another round of rain back down here in East Texas and Louisiana going through tomorrow and into tomorrow afternoon. And then after that, things start to get a little bit more quieter, and we really don't see much severe weather potentially at all going into Thursday, into Friday. Maybe return on Saturday and Sunday going into the southeast. We're just going to have to watch that troughing. I will mention as well, guys, the tornado parameters today are pretty decent. We have a pretty good amount of tornado parameters once again today. So any storms, like I said, that do fire off in southeast Texas and western Louisiana will have a threat for a couple of strong tornadoes today, dependent on what they look like storm mode wise. But if we do get a messy mode of storms, that's going to be very hard to get those tornadoes to happen. Yesterday, we didn't really have a lot of tornadoes. We had a couple warnings, not a lot of really anything confirmed, and that was due to just the clustering of storms allowing for not any isolated discrete mode to happen, and that kept the tornado risk ultimately down at the end of the day. So just something to watch for there. Those parameters will be in place for today. We're also looking at a pretty good amount of instability down in southeast Texas. That should start to climb. You can really start to see why I'm not really too concerned about instability up here, or I am a little bit more concerned about instability up here in terms of there not being a lot. If storms can fire off up here along the warm front, there will be a couple chances for some large hail, some damaging winds, and a couple tornadoes along the Red River. Most of our events going to be down in southeast Texas, and then after that, as we get closer to the overnight hours tonight and through tomorrow morning, that should start to ramp down. We'll have a little bit more instability at play for tomorrow for any storms that could become elevated, for some wind and for some hail. But other than that, I don't see an issue with that. Let's talk about our overall pattern and what we're going to see for the next couple of days here, really going into the next couple of weeks here. And really in general here, our Omega block pattern is breaking down. Low pressure system still hanging here along the Ohio River Valley. That will exit today. Low pressure system causing all of this robust severe weather that we're going to see this afternoon for today as well. This will be moving Wednesday into Thursday here, continuing to go across the southeast, the Gulf. We can still see a little bit of shear in place down here, but majority of the United States should start to ridge out, and that's going to allow for a big warm up, a drier outlook for most people across the United States. There still will be a pesky little low pressure system that tries to develop along the northeast later this weekend, but as I mentioned, pretty much ridging out here. There will be some rain, some thunderstorms ongoing in Florida, maybe down in the deep south here going into the weekend, but other than that, the risk for severe weather should be pretty much at minimal. Maybe a couple marginal risk days going into this weekend. I'm not expecting much, and then that risk really takes over. And then I want you guys to see something here as we go into next week, next Monday and Tuesday, the 12th and the 13th. We're in watch mode here, about 6 to 7 days out. Clearly, it looks like we're going to see a return for more troughing here. This is going to allow for more significant severe weather to approach as we go towards next week. So I do expect another active week next week in terms of severe weather. We're going to have a troughing pattern that's going to set up here in the southeast. This might bring a shot at some severe weather along the Carolinas here, back into Georgia, Florida Panhandle, up into central Florida as we go into next Tuesday and Wednesday. A little bit uncertain on what that's going to do, but as of right now, it looks like that our main event is going to be later next week as we go towards the 15th and the 16th, where we could actually see some robust severe weather for the Midwest, the Missouri Valley, the plains, up into the high plains with another negatively tilted trough. This actually looks very identical to that moderate risk zone setup that we had a couple days ago that actually ended up busting. So we'll have to watch this pretty closely. It looks like instability will be there, dew points will be there, shear will be there, and this once again will lead to a very, very active pattern in terms again of severe weather going into the rest of the month of May. I think after this 3-day stretch this week that we don't have any severe weather, we'll be seeing this once again going through the month of May. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. I do want to show you guys just an overall estimate of what the rainfall totals are going to be through the next couple of days here, and you can see where majority of that rainfall is going to be at. Back up here into the Rockies, and then down here into the southern plains, into the southeast, Louisiana, Mississippi, and the panhandle of Florida and southern Alabama will really be the areas that get hit hard. Anywhere from about 3 to 5 inches of rainfall through the next 3 to 4 days here, and then additional localized spots. The neighborhoods could see anywhere from 8+ inches of rainfall to 10 inches plus of rainfall there. So just be mindful there. We're going to keep things dry here in the Midwest, the upper plains. It shouldn't be an issue for you guys there. And then as we go into the following week, things will probably start to change as we see more rain move across the United States going into next week. So that's what I've got for you guys. I'll see y'all on the live stream here this afternoon. Be safe, guys. Be weather aware. Have alerts on your phones. Know where to go when you get warnings, and have NOAA weather radios charged. And we will see you guys in the next one. Be safe.